Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Toy and Action Figure Museum in beautiful Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. It's Nick and Big J, and we are allowed to play with a couple of toys. And be careful, I'm very fragile. But we are live, and we are going to check out some of the coolest places and coolest toys you've ever seen. Come along for the ride, shall we?
This is awesome.
We have over 13,000 action figures in the collection. This is not everything. I've got 2 other buildings full of stuff. As I got older, one of my girlfriends drugged me to an antique flea market. And I was like, I don't want to go, but I found these action figures of Superman and Batman and Green Lantern. And I was picking them up for 50 cents and $1. And I was like, oh, this is great. And I came home with a load of stuff. I said, when are we going back? So anyway, that started the collection. The town wanted unique tourist attractions in the downtown area. They had formed a committee of people who were trying to improve the town, and they were doing a 10-year plan. And I joked with one of the committee members that I was the unofficial tourist attraction because I had all this stuff in my art studio, and that people, news stations would come and do a story on me or whatever. And then total strangers would knock on my door and say, can we see the toys? And I was like, well, I'm in here working, but yeah, sure, come on in. We try to showcase older toys, like where some toys got their start, how the characters came about, and the toys made from those characters. We also showcase some of the new movies that are coming out. So if the Avengers, for instance, has a movie, we'll do an Avengers display, but we'll show all of the people that have been in the Avengers, all the characters, and try to give an overview of how the Avengers got started, that it actually was a comic book from the 60s. The nerds like me, you know, we know the history of all this stuff. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to educate just the general person who doesn't really have a background in comics or movies. I think the heyday of action figures was the 90s. There was a ton of stuff coming out then. Todd McFarlane actually in the early 90s raised the bar for action figures. Todd McFarlane came up with the character Spawn, and he and some other guys split off, created a new comic book company called Image Comics. Well, first off, they told him he couldn't do that, and they did, and were very successful. And then they told him he couldn't do action figures, which he did, and it was very successful. It also made all of the other companies do better. I think we're getting more into the collector market and less into the general market, which on the one hand is great because the sculpting is better and all, but they're a lot more expensive. I can't buy an action figure for less than 20 bucks now. And before, you go to KB Toys and get 3 for 10. So, you know, quality is better, but the quantity is less. I'm a huge Batman collector, and but I also love Superman. But there's a character called the Composite Superman. He's half Superman, half Batman. It's like, it's my dream come true, so. We get about 15 to 20,000 visitors a year. And for a town of 6,300, that's pretty good.
Big J, is this heaven?
It sure feels like it.
God, this is awesome, man. The Toy and Action Figure Museum in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma is the best place in the world.
There are thousands of action figures here, some that you grew up playing with as a kid, and some that you wished you could have had.
They have Voltron here. I love Voltron, man. If you get a chance, come on out here and check this out. It is ridiculously awesome and worth your time and definitely your money. And meet Kevin and Jody and the people here at the museum. They're just great and awesome. But you know what? We got to get back on the road, brother.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
We're going to Albuquerque. We'll see you tomorrow from the Breaking Bad RV tours, and we'll be all over Albuquerque like crazy. It's going to be nuts.